So Cobra Kai Season 5 came out, really fast to go to say, since this season was released not even a year after Season 4. Seriously, Season 4 was released at the start of 2022, and Season 5 only came out 9 months later. And that was genuinely pretty hard for this. I really like Season 1, I don't like Season 2, but I think Season 3 is pretty good, and I absolutely adore Season 4. Season 4 is genuinely like my favorite season so far. And as you can imagine, I was really excited for Season 5. So is Season 5 my favorite season? Well, might as well find out. I guess the first thing I'll start off with is that I really like all the characters here. Daniel and Johnny are as fun as ever, and what's nice is that they're finally officially friends. After Daniel's work in Season 4, he realized that it was okay that Donnie teaches karate differently. And sure, they bicker a little bit, but that's what friends do, and besides, it's not like they ever separate dojos or have a big fight or anything, because they always support each other. It's really rewarding to finally see them like this after everything that they've been through and how much arguing they did in the previous seasons. Same with Miguel and Robbie, because this season we finally get to see them become friends, and it's really rewarding after all the fighting that they've done with each other. I wish we got to see them be friends for a little longer, but I think what we got was still very good. And seeing Miguel, Robbie, and Hawk all train and hang out together was really cool. And this is random, but going off the trailers, when we saw Sam and Robbie training together in this frame, I was really fucking worried that there was gonna be another bullshit love triangle between Miguel, Robbie, and Sam. Because this show just pulled that shitty drama for the first 3 seasons, so I was really worried that I was gonna go back to that. Thankfully, the show remembered that Robbie likes Tori instead, so yeah, I'm glad about that. Anyways, this season is definitely the season that focuses most on character development with relationships between each other. Also, Terry Silver is easily Cobra Kai's best villain. He's so insane and such a great threat. I think this actually makes him better than Chris because not only is he skilled, but he's also a threat in a way that he's very smart and manipulative and has great resources. Seriously, him being rich and having great resources helps because Daniel can't just use his money to make him go away unlike he could do with Kreese. I never really bought Kreese as a threat, however, now that Silver's the main villain, it seems like there are actual stakes now. The stakes are higher than they've ever been in the entire Karate Kid franchise because now the entire season is about them trying to stop Cobra Kai from spreading globally. Also, the season brought Chosen back and he's one of the main characters and I fucking love him. He quickly made his way up as one of my favorite Cobra Kai characters, and I think that the scenes where he talks about Karate Kid 2 were some of his best. It adds a lot to his character and his honor, as well as a lot of context to the original movies in general. Something the show has always been best at is making the original Karate Kid movies so much better and more emotionally impactful. Also, Chosen is genuinely, really fucking funny. This dude made me lose my shit basically every episode. Daniel is also a really great character this season. I think sometimes he's a little too stupid this season and gets manipulated way too easily, but overall he's still a great character. His arc continues wonderfully from Season 4, and I think one of my favorite scenes in the show is where he defeated Silver with the crane kick. It's a great callback to Karate Kid 3 when Silver makes fun of the crane kick, and that's ultimately what defeats him. It's a really good callback in my opinion. But Johnny also has a great story this season. What's great is it's more about a story about his personal life instead of something about becoming a sensei, and I think that's really good for him because it's something new. This is another random thing, but I gotta say, when Johnny tells Robbie and Miguel about the baby, I just love their reactions. It's a really good moment in my opinion. Also, in general, Johnny is just really fucking funny this season. He's funnier than he's ever been, if you ask me. And also, since now there's a baby on the way in the season, I think that adds a lot more to his character as well, and we get to see a different side of him. It leads to a lot of great stuff in the finale as well. The finale in general I thought was really great and satisfying. Something the finale did really well at was building tension, especially between the fight with Chosen and Silver. And even more so when they start pulling out the blades and katanas and shit, and that's when I really started feeling the tension either one of them could actually fucking die. The fight was seriously awesome. The lighting, the sound effects, the cinematography, and all the blood used made it really badass. Definitely in my top 3 favorite fights in the entire show. The comedy in the show is also still really good. The show knows exactly when to tell a joke and when not to tell one. The actors and writing also bring some incredible comedic timing, especially the actor who plays Johnny Lawrence. I also think that one of the funniest parts in the show is when all the Miyagi dolls are trying to protect their eggs from Chosen. It's genuinely really funny and shows off the characters really well too. I'm glad that the comedic timing is perfect and the show never fails to make me laugh. Despite all that, I do unfortunately have some issues with the season. First off, I think that the pacing of this season is very uneven. A character will get so much focus for a good part of the season and then they will just completely disappear and the season just completely forgot about them. Then they'll just suddenly show it back later as well. I think an example of this is with Miguel and how he had a lot of shit in the first 2 episodes and then he kind of just disappeared for a little bit. He came back a little more in episode 5 and then suddenly he kind of just became more of a background character again until later episodes. This isn't a new issue, by the way. It's been an issue since season 2 or 3, but still, it kind of bothers me. Oh, and by the way, I predicted Miguel's story in season 5 way too accurately. Seriously, I guessed it perfectly in my tweet I made a few weeks ago. It's actually pretty funny. I think another character who suffered from the uneven pacing of the show is Mike Barnes. I was so excited for him to return, but at the same time, I was so sad that he was only in 2 episodes. And he was great in those 2 episodes, but he still barely appears in the show, and that fucking sucks. He has an understandable placement in his first episode, but suddenly he just kind of shows up in the finale again, and we don't even really know how he found them. And then in that finale, when they're all about to go fight at Silver's house, he just gets knocked out, and he's just out for the fucking fight. We don't even get to see him do a whole lot of karate or anything. I don't know, I just think it's pretty disappointing. Especially since I love the idea of all of Daniel's old enemies finally coming together and fighting the big threats. Like Johnny, Chosen, and Mike have all become good people by the end. However, Silver and Kreese are still bad people because they're stuck in the old ways. However, Daniel's other enemies have learned to move on with their lives, and I think that's such a cool idea. And I think that's one of the most satisfying parts of the season. Oh, I'm also sad that Hawk did basically nothing this season. All he does is get his ass kicked by an annoying kid, and that's it. By the way, I think that the fight between Hawk and Kenny is pretty stupid. I get that Hawk was holding back, but I don't think that he should have been taken down by moves that he used against Kenny in earlier scenes. Also, remember that Hawk character analysis video that I mentioned a couple months ago? Well, the reason I delayed it was because I wanted to see if he had any more development in Season 5, especially since Season 5 only came out like 9 months after Season 4. But there's no development and nothing to analyze, so now I'm just kinda mad. And Hawk's amazing character development in Season 4 is definitely one of the reasons that I prefer that season over Season 5, because Season 4 is again my favorite of the show. Another reason that I think I prefer Season 4 over 5 is because of the finales. Season 4 had a big 2-part finale where the stakes were higher than ever. Everything in the entire show was building up to those 2 episodes, to the tournament, and it was one of the most satisfying parts of the entire show. It even brought my favorite scenes in the entire show. It was full of payoffs to previous things that were set up in the show and conclusions to character arcs in the best ways possible. But the thing about Season 5 for me was that even though it had a lot of great payoffs, it also had a bunch of weird stuff, especially since a lot of the characters and arcs were already concluded in previous episodes. So there wasn't a lot left for payoffs because a lot of that stuff already happened in the earlier episodes. Also, I tend to just prefer the tournament style of finale over a big-ass fight in some random location. These type of fights require way too much suspension of disbelief. Like, seriously, in every single one of these fights, I ask myself, why hasn't anyone called the fucking cops, or where's the police? I swear, cops just don't exist in Cobra Kai. Except when they do. Now, that's really it for my criticisms, and I really did like this season despite all of them. Most of my criticisms didn't really hinder my enjoyment of the show, and this season is still as fun as ever, and all the characters are still really great too. So as for a score overall, I'd probably give Cobra Kai Season 5 an 8 out of 10. And by the way, if you're wondering for my scores for the previous seasons and how I'd rank them, it'd be in last place is Season 2 with a 3 out of 10. I really don't like that season. Sorry, not sorry. And then in 4th place is Season 3 with a 7 out of 10, a big improvement if you ask me. Next up is Season 5 with an 8 out of 10 like I already said, and then in 2nd place is Season 2 with a 9 out of 10. I really fucking love that season. And in 1st place for me is Season 4 with a 9.5 out of 10. I love that season so fucking much, and I adore basically everything about it. I'm really glad I got into the show, especially since it made me enjoy the Karate Kid movies a lot more, and this show has just overall been really fucking fun. I'm glad a bunch of people on Twitter basically bullied me into watching it. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you guys did enjoy. I know I haven't been uploading a lot recently, and I'm sorry about that. It's just I got sick for like 2 weeks, and I lost motivation, then I had term finals, but I'm hopefully back now. Make sure you let me know your thoughts on the season down below in the comments, and like and subscribe because I'm desperate, and goodbye.